Hello friends, my name's Friday. Why does my voice sound like that? What is going on? Hello friends, my name's Friday. This is absolutely TMI, but I currently have a bandage nestled deep in the Forbidden Canyon. Why?
Don't worry. Be happy.
But YouTube waits for no butt-wounded bitch, so we press on. Today, I bring you a tale, a warning really, about why you should never, ever put on the hag's mask while the hag is still kicking. But before that, let me paint you a picture so dumb, my ugly mug is now listed under idiot in Merriam-Webster. So sit back, relax, and prepare for a cautionary tale from Friday the Fool. It was sometime around April 17th or 18th. I don't remember actually. It was right after Patch 8 dropped. Delivered unto us by our mighty patrons at 𝖕𝖊𝖘𝖐 Studios. Yes, patrons. Their TOS reads like a warlock pact. So congrats. We're all spellbound now. Anyway, my bestie Sneezy and I booted up a co-op game. I rolled with a half-orc named Indy, a living embodiment of poor life choices. My very first move, marching into the spider pit at level 4 to square up against 100 HP spiders and their bug baby backup dancers. Oh, and we were playing with Tactician Enhanced, a mod that adds nightmare difficulty, extra action points, and a blood oath to make you regret everything. Naturally, I thought, yeah, I could solo this. Spoiler, I could not. I got folded like a thrift store lawn chair. Sneezy swooped in, cleared the room, and saved my lumpy green behind. Once the Spider Queen was down, she went to loot the shiny amethyst for the necromancy of 𝖕𝖊𝖘𝖐. Meanwhile, my brain went, what if I jumped? So I launched my thick orc booty off one of the webs straight onto the fragile webbing above the Underdark. Cue cutscene where Indy swan dives straight into hell. Fun fact number 1, if you haven't triggered a starting spite scene before dropping into the Underdark, he'll casually hit you with a vampire lore bomb right there and then.
You know, I've been thinking, and I think there's something I should tell you. Nothing big or terrible, just a small little detail about me that hasn't come up naturally. It's just that I happen to be what's the best way to put this? A vampire.
Fun fact number 2, that scene also gives you +10 approval, which you now don't get. Fun fact number 3, Sneezy was romancing a starring as a good 𝖕𝖊𝖘𝖐 character, so basically, she was climbing Mount Fuck around to peek find out. So by nose diving into the Underdark like a jacked up Cirque du Soleil dropout, I stole her one chance to seduce the vampire boyfriend of her dreams. Now that you're all caught up on the absolute state of our game, let's move on to the piece de resistance, the icing on this chocolate-covered war crime. Roughly an hour after I made out with the floor of the Underdark, and after Sneezy so graciously resurrected me, I skipped off to grab 𝖕𝖊𝖘𝖐𝖊𝖘 because clearly getting wrecked by spiders, gravity.
Are you coming up to chill? What's the plan, bruh? Everything is awesome when you're a panda.
My own hubris wasn't enough. I needed more. So 𝖕𝖊𝖘𝖐𝖊𝖘 and I, both level 6 and built on vibes, marched into Auntie Ethel's swampy little hellhole. Normally, our goal is to kill Auntie Ethel before she scuttles to the back room like a goblin at a family reunion. Usually, we succeed. This time, the fight started fine. I blasted her with modded Star Wars spells, lightsabers, force powers, the works. I was cooking until the red cap showed up and drop-kicked my plans into the abyss. I'd cast a cheater version of Hold Monster, indefinite paralysis until the enemy dies or I lose concentration. One of the crusty red caps hit me with Old Person, which broke my spell and freed Ethel. She scurried off into her evil grandma cave while I obliterated the red caps of the fury someone who hasn't pooped right in a week.
Peaceful thought.
𝖕𝖊𝖘𝖐𝖊𝖘 and I chased her down into the inner sanctum, you know, the room tree, blockade, spooky ambiance, table full of creepy masks. I remember seeing a TikTok that said if you wear one, you can talk to the other mask wearers. So naturally, my dumbass went, cool, and slapped one on. Instant fucking regret. I was hit with something called ephemeral whispers, which basically turns Ethel's voice into your toxic ex whispering sweet nothings into your brainstem. I couldn't move, couldn't attack, couldn't cast spells, couldn't take the mask off. Just stood there like a possessed NPC on a Renaissance fair. Eventually, after a couple of minutes of 𝖕𝖊𝖘𝖐𝖊𝖘 and I yelling at the disembodied voice to get out of our heads.
Get out! Get out of my head!
I got the mask off her and regained control of my character too. Victory, right? Wrong. I forgot to take the damn mask off of 𝖕𝖐𝖊𝖐𝑘. So here she was, skipping around like everything was fine, making saving throws against the 𝖕𝖊𝖘𝖚𝖐 ASMR. You'd think it dawned on me that her making continual saving throws meant she'd fail one of them. Nope, never did, not even once. Cue Shock Pikachu face when she inevitably failed a saving throw. 𝖕𝖐 snapped and aggroed 𝖓𝖊𝖘. Now, I could have just killed her and resurrected her later. Easy fix. But no, I decided to save her. So I cast Hold Monster on my own character, thinking I could take the mask off that way. When that didn't work, even after she passed a saving throw, I figured the spell was preventing me from removing the mask. So 𝖓𝖊𝖘 dropped concentration, and then somehow I made a terrible mistake. I ended 𝖓𝖊𝖘's turn. 𝖕𝖐𝖊𝖐, still hostile and now very much free, cast Force Stasis on 𝖓𝖊𝖘. For those of you that aren't familiar, Force Stasis is like Hold Monster, but the target can't take or do damage. It's a permanent effect, which meant 𝖓𝖊𝖘 was frozen in time, invincible, and completely helpless. The only way to break it? 𝖕𝖐𝖊𝖐 losing concentration, which was obviously not gonna happen because there was no one around to break her concentration. So I did what any rational person would do. I stood there and watched my own character beat the ever-loving fuck out of 𝖓𝖊𝖘 for the next 5 minutes, while Sneezy was tied up in her own fight across the map. I wish I was exaggerating. Just watch how this played out.
At least she can't attack. Never mind.
At least she can attack. I freaking spoke too soon.
It's going well.
𝖓𝖊𝖘's probably a little pissed.
Just kind of vented her frustrations.
Fair enough.
Using Force Stasis, so 𝖓𝖊𝖘 can't take any damage, and I can't do shit about it, so.
Oh.
At least you're not getting this shit walked over and over and over and over and over again by a giant half-orc.
Do you need help?
I don't think there's anything you can do.
If the knife's a freaking sends it to you.
You can do that for 𝖕𝖐𝖊𝖐𝑘, that's by all means, but
It's such a fucking ridiculous game. Honestly, I'm liking it though.
so, don't put the mask on, otherwise this will happen.
Oh, you put the mask on.
So if anyone says that you guys didn't attack, he's gonna hide it on. What I did know is that he's stuck in a loop of this.
Yeah, okay.
Come on, man, take your time.
As you can see, it was quite the experience. But that wasn't even the peak of the fuckery. Oh no, that was just the appetizer. Now it's time for the main course. Sneezy and her team of 4 trying to take down 𝖕𝖐𝖊𝖐𝖐, my own deranged creation, who at this point had fully committed to being the final boss. Let's break it down, shall we? First, 𝖕𝖐𝖊𝖐𝖐 decides to park herself into the big ass tree, like she's one with nature, which is ironic because she's a ranger. Anyway, this makes her damn near unreachable for melee attacks because apparently she's not just a force user, she's Groot now. Then she unleashes the Force Tornado, knocking poor Shadowheart to the ground and stunning her like she just got hit by a spiritual freight train. Sneezy, being the brave little chaos wizard she is, tries to cast Force Choke. It has a 30% chance of success, and unsurprisingly, it fails. However, 𝖕𝖐𝖊𝖐𝑘's concentration is finally broken a moment later, but I'm too distracted, probably googling, can emotional damage be reversed? And don't notice that 𝖕𝖐𝖊𝖐's vulnerable again, so Sneezy whips out the big guns. A cheater level magic missile spell that can hit for anywhere between 360 to 1500 damage, enough to erase someone from existence. Because what I forgot, I had set one of 𝖕𝖐𝖊𝖐's reactions, Deflection Shield, to trigger automatically, so the moment those glittery death missiles fly in, 𝖕𝖐𝖊𝖐 just throws up her hand like, nah, not today, and bounces that spell back like she's slapping mosquitoes at a barbecue. Result. Sneezy's caster gets vaporized. Meanwhile, Will, sweet underleveled Will, tries to contribute by casting Vicious Mockery because I'll be damned, it actually worked. Finally, after what feels like a decade of clownery, I realize 𝖕𝖐𝖊𝖐's concentration is broken, so I switched to 𝖓𝖊𝖘 and do what needed to be done.
This is not going well.
Oh, it's not. Like, we're trying to freaking help you, man.
Oh, I'm free.
You are?
As an indie packet, one well-timed smack at a time. And finally, my half-orc's rampage comes to an end. Mask, I send that shit straight to camp, where it belongs, in shame. Also in case we need it in the future. Moral of the story, don't wear creepy masks. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the very end of the video. I am recording this after I narrated the other part because I didn't like the original ending, so I'm gonna redo it. I got some rambling, so if you rather skip it, then thank you for watching, and I'll see you next Friday, or maybe even Monday. And for those of you sticking around, let's talk. I have some things to say. First and foremost, if you are curious about that wound I was talking about, this is very much TMI, but let's just say I strained too hard when pinching a loaf and popped a blood vessel, so I had to insert a bandage in my unmentionables, and it's extremely uncomfortable. So if I sounded a little rushed when I was narrating or just at all off, I apologize. I got a fucking bandage wedged up my ass, so yeah, it's an unfortunate situation all around, but like I said at the beginning, YouTube waits for no but wounded bitch, so the show must go on, as they say. This video also took a very, 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 very long time to edit. I don't know why, it just did. So I do hope you enjoyed it, regardless of how rushed or incoherent it seemed at some places. If you managed to understand what I said, I applaud you a bunch. I also wanted to give a massive shout out to Lex. Lex really helped me out this week because I was struggling with the script. I just could not get it right, and I hated every rendition of it. So I'm like, hey Lex, could you help me out? And they're like, I got you, don't even worry about it. Lex is my scriptwriter, for any of you who didn't know. Lex also helps to come up with some video ideas. They're like my co-creator for this channel. Lex is an extremely private person, but they do enjoy helping when they can, and I am so fucking grateful for them. So massive shout out to Lex. And finally, 268 of you beautiful bastards are following my account. I haven't even filmed my 200 subscriber milestone video yet. That hasn't been made at all. I have a bad habit of dragging my heels when it comes to my milestone videos. Not because I don't appreciate you guys. They take me a long time to edit because I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and I want them to be perfect because it's celebrating a massive milestone my channel achieved. I tend to, as I said, drag my heels, so the 200 milestone video is coming. It's just gonna take a bit. And as for my 300 one, well, when I eventually reach 300, that's gonna be an even bigger project than the one I'm working on for 200 subscribers, but that's a future me problem. Anyway, that is it for me today. I really hope you enjoyed the video, even if it is a bit rushed and incoherent at some places. I really did my best considering my circumstances. So yeah, let me know what you thought in the comments below. Let me know the stupidest thing that you ever did in your game. I'm very curious. Don't forget to like if you liked the video, subscribe if you want, and I'll see you next Friday, or maybe even Monday. Peace.
It's Friday. Gotta get down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend. Friday. Getting down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend. Partying, yeah. Partying.